app. So Mark mentioned how to use the app, but what are would you mind just reiterating some of the features of BayaniPay that will really be beneficial to the Filipino Americans that will be using the app? Maybe starting with Winston?
Well, it was a really important balance of convenience, ease of use, and security at the same time. So when people remit money or when people do banking, there's always that fear that my money is going to go away, right? And so it was a careful compromise of, number one, making sure it's secure first and foremost. So if you look at the BayaniPay app, way back when it was just a remittance application, we've already implemented bank level KYC or know your customer. We check the ID against databases, and we take a selfie and biometrically analyze your face against your ID. So that's really important because we're shepherds of people's money, number one. And number two, by doing very strong KYC and security measures, we lower fraud, and this is one of the reasons why we can afford no fee remittance, right? So that actually come together. Now we're always going to focus on ease of use. We're always going to focus on making the use of your wallet just embed in your life, right? As if you were just using a regular wallet. So I think that's one feature that we've really paid a lot of attention to.
I'd like to add on a comment on the KYC. So BayaniPay KYC procedures is in full compliance with Bank Secrecy Act. So it satisfies the regulators, it satisfies all the bankings, and certainly provide peace of mind to our customers.
All right, thank you. Next question is, how can there be no charges in the transaction?
There's always charges.
I actually told Winston that we need to make profit. This is a profit organization, so please answer that question.
Yeah, so there's always charges. So when you remit money home, or when you do just broadly cross-border payments, right? There's always two factors that come into play. One is a transaction fee, what people use, and that's for the service of sending the money. And then another, which is somewhat invisible, is the exchange rate, right? And a lot of the cross-border payments company, like Remitters, MoneyGram, Western Union, Remitly, they have a margin on the foreign exchange. So we decided we want to simplify the measurement of the value you get from BayaniPay by removing one of them. And we decided to remove transaction fees. So we still make money on the foreign exchange. While we make money on the foreign exchange, we also want to make sure that we're market leading, and we are in foreign exchange. But we just want to give our customer only one way to evaluate, right? And if you look at the app, when you open the BayaniPay app, the first thing you see is the exchange rate, right? And that way you can very quickly compare to all the competitors. Kind of our way of making sure you know that your money is stretched. But I do have board members and partners, and we do make money as well, right? And we still make money doing that. We are able to make our profits despite disrupting the market, because we are disrupting the way it's processed. We're removing pieces in the market. We're removing the over-the-counter payments. We're removing a middleman foreign exchange. We were able to tie together two of the largest banks in both ends of the corridor, right? The American corridor and the Philippines. So we do pass on our efficiency in cost to our customers. But we want to limit the vector to one, right? Just watch the Forex, and you know we have no fees.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Winston. Another question, which may be answered by Winston and Parker. So you talked about BayaniPay as a neobank, not just a remittance service. What exactly does it mean to be a neobank, and how is it different from other digital banking service in the market?
And I'm going to have Parker finish this. We are very fortunate to be able to do what we are able to do as a close to complete banking service, right? Without necessarily doing the really hard work of becoming a really successful bank like East West Bank. And that partnership is really rooted on, number one, technology. We were blessed to work with East West Bank, whose banking technology is ready for third-party integration. So that was very convenient. We're able to construct a bank in our vision leveraging the foundation that is available by East West Bank. Number one. Number two is the alignment of compliance and regulatory processes. Right? Again, we're able to piggyback on established, well-regarded processes within the bank, and so we can focus on innovation. So, what the neobank really is a fintech or a software company or an app, right, that was able to gain the trust of an existing chartered bank and was allowed to provide a service extension to a standard bank so that we can combine it with other services like remittance, for instance, or loyalty programs, and create a highly personalized service. But at the end of the day, what's really unique of us as a neobank is that our partner bank does not look at us as a wholesale client. We're building the solutions together. And I think this might be first, where as a neobank, you can go to a branch. Like most neobanks, you can't go to a branch. So we're really excited about that.
That's exactly right. So that's why that, as I mentioned earlier, we are looking at this as we're providing the omni-channel banking as a service to BayaniPay, and we're hoping to bring not only the technology to serve the customers, but also the branch network, our call centers, our human advisors to support this, because everyone on one hand understand how to think about bank. On the other hand, there will be questions that looking at the app itself may not be able to answer. That's why we're hoping to have both the physical and also the digital capabilities to support our customers.
And that's great because BayaniPay really knows its customers. We know that some of you still want to be able to talk to a human person, right? And that's what the branch network of East West Bank is able to provide. Last couple of questions. One is, so what else is in store for BayaniPay beyond the Filipino-American community? Are you also going to tap the Chinese community or other groups in the US or other parts of the world?
Yes, I think the Filipino market and the Filipino community is a place to start for us because we're familiar with the Filipino community. But we're not going to stop with the Filipino community. We're looking forward to expand the power and the benefit, the potential of BayaniPay to all ethnicities. Parker and I like to start with where we have our wheelhouses, right? So I start with Filipino. East West Bank is really strong in the Asian American market. We look forward to expanding more broadly, more quickly to the Asian American market. My board wants us to constantly and continuously and aggressively expand. So we're looking forward to all the markets, but staying with the Asian American to begin with, because that's where we're good at.
Yeah, I think the answer to that is the sky is the limit. Obviously, our strength is here in the US, so we focus on what we use the term low-hanging fruit, we pick up those first. The next market is Canada. And so we have, our partners has huge presence in Canada. And I think that's certainly coming soon, but the technologies, the platform, the services that we provide is worldwide.
All right, thank you. And last question. So what is your growth outlook for remittances this year? Any data on that? And then, somebody also asked how you differentiate Bayani from others, which we've answered. So maybe we can end with your growth outlook for remittances. And are there any other trends we should look out for?
Well, what's fascinating with remittance, especially in the U.S. market, is despite the pandemic, it continued to grow. That just talks about the strength of Asian American and Asian Americans as they think about helping back home. So we continue for that to continue to grow. I would say that the growth in remittance, there are two exciting things that's going on there. Is that it will continue to grow, number one, but number two, it's gonna aggressively become more digital. That people would no longer use cash to remit, right? And because of that, we feel like it's perfect timing to launch Bayani. And as we complete this for Filipino American market, we're aggressively already thinking about the second, the third, and fourth markets we're doing. One thing that we're gonna do though that's gonna stay consistent is it will be personalized. It will be tailored, right? There'll be a Bayani bank for the Filipinos. There'll be a bank specific for other ethnicities. And we will start by understanding and respecting and putting together the same kind of partnerships that we've been putting together, right? Merchants, banks, communities, so that we truly deliver this personalized banking goal that we have in mind.
All right, thank you very much to our panelists. So that wraps up the moderated Q&A.
I have
Yes.
one question
Oh, sorry,
for
yes.
our banker, because I wanted to make sure that the audience here is not confused with East West Bank, the Philippines. So is there a relationship between East West Bank USA and East West Bank Philippines?
There is. So there is another bank in Philippines called East West Bank. It is not associated with East West Bank here in United States.
Yeah, so especially to our Philippine members of the press, the logos are very different. Even the way you spell is quite different. So East West Bank in the US is different from East West Bank with conjoined East West in the Philippines. All right, so thank you again very much. We would just like to advance